Think about the last time someone got close to you, really close, and your first instinct was to pull back. Or the last time you achieved something significant and still felt like it wasn't enough. Or the moment someone said, "I love you," and part of you waited for the catch. Where do you think that comes from? Because it didn't start last year. It didn't start in your last relationship. For most people, it started before they had words for it. This video isn't about blame. It's not about replaying old wounds. It's about cause and effect. Because your brain recorded everything, and some of what it recorded is still running your life right now. Let's look at exactly what happened and what it's still doing. Ask yourself honestly, do you feel more valuable when you're productive? When you're useful to someone? When you've achieved something? That's not ambition, that's conditioning. When a child isn't loved unconditionally, they don't think, "My parents are failing me." They think, "I must not be enough yet." So they perform. They become the helpful one, the high achiever, the one who never causes problems. They learn to earn what should have been given freely. Psychologists call this conditional self-worth. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Personality found that adults who experienced emotional neglect in childhood showed significantly higher dependency on external validation and lower baseline sense of self-worth regardless of actual achievement. The exhausting part? No achievement ever fully fills it, because the whole was never about achievement. Real love doesn't have conditions, but if you never received that, your nervous system genuinely doesn't know it exists. Do you over-explain yourself in relationships? Apologize before you've done anything wrong? Brace for rejection even when things are going well? Or the opposite, do you keep everyone at a careful distance, telling yourself you just prefer it that way? Both patterns trace back to the same place. John Bowlby's attachment theory, backed by decades of research across 54 countries, shows that our earliest caregiving experiences become the literal template for every relationship that follows. Children with emotionally unavailable caregivers develop one of two responses: anxious attachment, hypervigilance to any sign of abandonment, or avoidant attachment, emotional shutdown as self-protection. A 2019 meta-analysis of over 95,000 participants found that insecure attachment in childhood predicted relationship dissatisfaction in adulthood with striking consistency. This isn't your personality. This is a pattern your brain built to survive a specific environment. The environment changed. The pattern didn't. Yet. Here's a question. Would you speak to a friend the way you speak to yourself? Most people who grew up without adequate emotional support answer that immediately, no. Because the voice is harsh, relentless. You're too much. You're not enough. Why would anyone choose you? Where did it come from? A child's mind cannot process neglect as a failure of the parent. It processes it as a failure of the self. The pain turns inward. It becomes shame. It becomes that voice. Dr. Kristen Neff's research at the University of Texas found that people from emotionally unsupportive childhoods show measurably higher chronic self-criticism, activating the same neural threat response as physical danger. Your brain is literally treating your own thoughts as a threat. But here's the critical fact. Neff's studies also show this pattern has a measurable reversal rate with targeted self-compassion practice. The voice isn't permanent, it's a learned response, and learned responses can be unlearned. Do you want deep connection, but find yourself sabotaging it when it gets real? You're not broken, you're running a very logical program. If the people who were supposed to love you unconditionally either didn't or made love feel unpredictable and conditional, then closeness became associated with danger, not consciously, neurologically. Bessel van der Kolk, author of The Body Keeps the Score, documented that emotional neglect in childhood produces measurable changes in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for trust, emotional regulation, and reading social safety. Your brain learned getting close equals potential threat. So now part of you reaches toward people and part of you is already preparing for the fall. The push-pull isn't confusion. It's two survival systems running simultaneously, the attachment system and the defense system, both doing their job, both aimed at protecting you. Recognizing which one is speaking in any given moment, that's where change begins.
Here's what most videos on this topic don't tell you. The same nervous system that absorbed all of that also built something. Because you had to figure things out alone, you developed extraordinary self-awareness. Because you learned to read emotional environments for survival, you developed rare empathy. Because you found ways to cope without support, you built a resilience most people never need to develop. A landmark 30-year longitudinal study by Emmy Werner followed 698 children from high-risk backgrounds, emotional neglect included. 1/3 of them, with no professional intervention, built stable, meaningful, connected adult lives. Not in spite of what they experienced, Werner found they used it as fuel for self-understanding, for depth, for the particular kind of compassion that only comes from having needed it yourself. French psychiatrist Boris Cyrulnik, who lost his entire family in the Holocaust as a child, dedicated his career to this question. His conclusion? Resilience is not the absence of wound, it is what grows from it.
So let me ask you directly, which of these 5 effects do you recognize in yourself right now? The earned love, the waiting for people to leave, the voice that isn't yours, the tightrope of intimacy, or the quiet strength you never fully claimed? Because here's what I want you to take from this. None of it means you are damaged. All of it means you adapted intelligently, creatively, with the tools a child had available. Those adaptations made sense then. They kept you safe. And now, with awareness, you get to decide which ones you still want to carry. You are not your history. You are what you do with it. And the fact that you watch this to the end, that you're still asking these questions, still trying to understand yourself, tells me something important. You're not stuck. You're just getting started. If this reached someone you know, send it to them.